Hello, friends, family, and random strangers. This is the story of Aphrodite, the Greek goddess of love, beauty, and fertility. She was considered the most beautiful female in the world, and she sat on a golden throne on Mount Olympus among the other great gods and goddesses. Aphrodite is the only Greek god or goddess without a mother or father. She instead rose up from the sea foam, and the first to see her was the wind. Aphrodite was so beautiful that she took his breath away, and after a moment the wind gently blew her to shore. Waiting on the shore were the three Graces, and from that moment on they would attend to her every need. When Aphrodite came to live with the other gods and goddesses, Zeus was afraid that war would break out over her hand, or paw, as many of the gods were in love with her. To prevent this, he quickly married Aphrodite to Hephaestus, so that no one would fight over her. Many of the gods and goddesses thought this was funny, as Hephaestus was not the best-looking god in the heavens. Aphrodite did not stay true to her husband, however, and she had many other love interests. Aphrodite also had a belt that her husband made her with the ability to make any two people fall in love, and she often made gods fall in love with mortals as a sort of practical joke. As revenge, Zeus made Aphrodite fall in love with a handsome mortal shepherd named Anchises. They then have a son, the demigod Aeneas. Aeneas was raised by nymphs in the forest for 5 years, and then he lived as a nobleman in Troy. When Peleus and Thetis had their wedding, all the gods and goddesses were invited except Eris. Eris was annoyed at this, so she threw a golden apple with the words, "To the fairest," on it, into a group of goddesses while they were at the wedding. Aphrodite, Hera, and Athena all thought that they were the most beautiful, and therefore they all wanted the apple. They took their case to Zeus, and of course Zeus did not want to show favoritism towards any of the goddesses, so he chose the mortal Paris, a prince of Troy, to decide which of them was the most beautiful. Paris could not decide between the three, so each of the goddesses offered him something if he would choose them as the winner. Athena offered Paris wisdom, Hera offered him power over a great stretch of land, and Aphrodite offered him the promise that he would marry the most beautiful woman in the world, Queen Helen of Sparta, who was already married at that time. Paris chose Aphrodite and gave her the golden apple. He then married Helen and took her away, and some say that this is how the Trojan War began. When the Trojan War did start, Aphrodite sided with the Trojans because her son Aeneas was a Trojan and Paris was also Trojan. Once there was a huntress named Atalanta who offered to marry any man who could outrun her. She was the fastest mortal on earth, however, and those who could not outrun her she speared. Hippomenes was a nice dude who liked Atalanta, but he knew that he couldn't outrun her and didn't really want to be speared. So he decided to pray to Aphrodite for help. Aphrodite then came down from the heavens and gave him 3 golden apples. When the race began, Hippomenes threw the apples behind him, one at a time as he ran. Atalanta stopped and picked up the golden fruits when she saw them, and in this way, Hippomenes won the race and Atalanta's paw, of course. So those were a few of the myths of Aphrodite. Hope you enjoyed.